Yusuf was a 23-year-old software engineer living in Dubai. He had a good job, a nice apartment, and a busy social life. But despite his outward success, he felt empty inside. Over the years, he had drifted away from his faith. He rarely prayed, never fasted outside of Ramadan, and often found himself indulging in habits he knew were wrong. One Friday, as he scrolled through his phone during lunch, he saw a notification, prayer time. He hesitated. It had been months since he last attended Jummah. I'm too busy, he told himself. I'll go next week. But deep down, he knew it was just an excuse. That evening, Yusuf decided to take a walk to clear his head. As he wandered through the city, he stumbled upon a small, old mosque tucked away in a quiet alley. The mosque looked ancient, with intricate carvings and a soft glow emanating from its windows. Curious, Yusuf stepped inside. The mosque was empty except for one man, sitting in the corner, reciting Quran. The man looked up and smiled at Yusuf. Assalamu alaikum, brother, he said. You look like you have a heavy heart. Yusuf was taken aback. He hadn't expected anyone to notice him, let alone speak to him. He sat down beside the man and, for the first time in years, opened up about his struggles. He spoke about his guilt, his lack of self-control, and how he felt disconnected from Allah. The man listened patiently and then said, Brother, the first step to change is recognizing that you need it. But remember, Allah's mercy is greater than your sins. He is always waiting for you to return. Yusuf felt a strange sense of peace wash over him. Before leaving, the man handed him a small, worn-out book. Read this, he said. It will help you. The book was titled The Path to Self-Control. It was filled with stories of people who had overcome their struggles through faith and perseverance. As Yusuf read, he felt inspired. He decided to make a change. He started by committing to one prayer a day, far. At first, it was difficult. He set multiple alarms and even asked a friend to call him every morning to make sure he woke up. Slowly, he began to add other prayers to his routine. He also started reading Quran every night before bed. At first, he didn't understand much, but he found comfort in the rhythm of the words. Over time, he began to reflect on their meaning and how they applied to his life. Just as Yusuf was making progress, he faced a major test. His company announced a high-stakes project that required long hours and intense focus. Yusuf knew it would be difficult to maintain his new routine, but he was determined not to fall back into old habits. One night, as he worked late in the office, he realized he had missed his prayer. He felt a pang of guilt, but reminded himself of the man's words, Allah's mercy is greater than your sins. He found a quiet corner in the office, laid down his jacket as a makeshift prayer mat, and prayed. His colleagues noticed and teased him. Yusuf, you're praying at work now? One of them joked. But Yusuf just smiled. I've realized that my faith is more important than anything else, he replied. Months passed, and Yusuf's life began to transform. He felt more connected to Allah and more in control of his actions. His relationships improved, and he even received a promotion at work. But the biggest change was in his heart. He no longer felt like a slave to his desires. Instead, he felt free to live a life of purpose and meaning. One Friday, Yusuf decided to return to the small mosque where he had met the man. He wanted to thank him for the guidance that had changed his life. But when he arrived, the mosque was empty. He asked the imam about the man, but the imam looked confused. Brother, this mosque has been closed for renovations for over a year, the imam said. No one has prayed here in months. Yusuf was stunned. But I was here. I met him here. The imam noticed Yusuf's confusion and asked him to describe the man. When Yusuf finished, the imam's eyes widened. Brother, the man you described sounds like Sheikh Ibrahim. He was a well-known scholar who used to teach here, but he passed away 2 years ago. Yusuf felt a chill run down his spine. How is that possible? He wondered. I spoke to him. He gave me a book. The imam smiled gently. Sometimes, Allah sends us reminders in ways we cannot understand. Yusuf left the mosque that day with a heart full of gratitude. He realized that the man he had met was not an ordinary person but a blessing from Allah, a reminder that no matter how far we may drift, Allah's mercy is always within reach. From that day on, Yusuf dedicated his life to helping others who were struggling with their faith. He started a youth group at his local mosque, where he shared his story and encouraged others to take small steps toward change. This is a reminder that no matter how far we may stray, Allah's mercy is always closer than we think. It's never too late to return, to change, or to seek forgiveness. Sometimes, Allah sends us signs in the most unexpected ways, through a stranger, a book, or even a moment of clarity in the chaos of life. The path to self-control and faith isn't easy, but it's worth it. Every small step you take toward Allah is a step toward freedom, peace, and purpose. So, ask yourself today, what's holding you back from starting your journey? Remember, the door to Allah's mercy is always open. All you have to do is knock.